Yangaka School was a well-known private secondary school. The school had two separate hostels, one for the boys and one for the girls. It was known for its strict rules and high academic standards. But there was a secret that not many knew about. Every term, a few of the girls would end up pregnant, and the school had a strange way of dealing with it. Whenever a girl became pregnant, the school will arrange for her to have an abortion. The staff will keep it hidden from the parents and outside world. The girls were told to keep quiet, and the school promised them that everything would go back to normal once the abortion was over. The secret practice had been going on for years, and no one ever questioned it. Over time, things began to take a dark turn. Some of the girls who had gone through the abortion process began to feel sick and weak, but no one paid attention, and life continued as usual. Teachers taught their lessons, and students studied for exam. The boys will often visit the girls' hostel late at night, and that is when most of the pregnancy happened. The students tried to forget about the pain and the shame. Some of the girls will become distant, while others will quietly return to their study. But no one could ignore the fact that there was something deeply wrong at the Yangaka School. One day, a girl named Clara was found dead. She had been one of the girls who had gone through an abortion just a few weeks earlier. Her death shocked everyone, but the school tried to keep it quiet. They said she had died from an illness, but the rumors spread quickly among the students. Some of them whispered that Clara had died because of the abortion. Soon, other students began to remember strange things, how some girls had gone sick after their abortions and how others had just disappeared. They started to wonder if the school had been hiding something all along. The truth was becoming clear. Something had been wrong at Yangaka School for a long time. The local authority began to investigate, and soon the school was under close scrutiny. They discovered that for the past 15 years, several girls had died after their abortions, and many others had suffered silently. The authorities started asking questions, and the truth began to unfold. What happened next? No one knew for sure, but the future of the Yangaka School was looking uncertain. The truth was out, and nothing could ever be the same again. As the investigation into Yangaka School deepened, more disturbing truths came to light. Authorities discovered that the school had been operating without proper medical oversight, and the abortion were being performed by unqualified staff. There were also reports of the girls being pressured into keeping quiet, with some even being bribed with promises of future success in their education. It was clear now that the school had been hiding a dark and dangerous secret for years. Parents of students, many of whom had never suspected a thing, began to demand answers. The local community was in shock, and protests outside the school grew larger with each passing day. Former students came forward with their own stories, recounting how they had been mistreated and silenced. Some revealed that they had been forced into having abortions, while others spoke of the guilt and trauma that had haunted them ever since. Amid the growth outrage, the school administration tried to defend itself, claiming that they were only trying to protect the students from the consequences of their actions. They argued that they had been trying to maintain the school reputations and avoid scandal, but their excuses rang hollow to those who had suffered. Many people now saw the school as a place that put its own image above the well-being of its students. The local government stepped in and the school was shut down. While the investigation continued, the authorities seized records, interviewed staffs, and spoke to former students. It became clear that there had been a pattern of abuse that had been ignored for far too long. The more they dug, the more they uncovered. Some of the staffs had been taking advantage of their power, coercing students into relationships and forcing them into silence. But as the investigation went on, one question remained: how had this been allowed to happen for so long? How could so many people turn a blind eye to the suffering of these girls? As the news spread, other schools began to worry. Was Yangaka the only one with such dark secret? Parents started pulling their children from private schools across the area, unsure of what might be happening in other institutions. Trust in private education began to crumble. Some of the girls who had suffered came together, determined to speak out and make sure no one else will have to go through what they did. They formed support groups, and with the help of lawyers and advocacy groups, they began pushing for changes in the law. They wanted to make sure that schools could no longer hide abuse or take advantage of students without facing consequences. Despite the horror, some of the girls began to find their voices again. They vowed to make sure that Clara's death would not be in vain and that the truth would finally be known to the world. They hoped that by speaking out, they could help prevent this kind of suffering from happening again. As the investigation continued, it became clear that Yangaka School story was far from over. There was still much to uncover and many questions to answer. But one thing was certain: the school reign of secrecy had come to an end, and the people who had been silenced for so long were ready to speak. As weeks turned into months, the investigation into Yangaka School began to uncover even more shocking revelations. The authority learned that the practice of forcing abortion was not only a result of schools' attempts to avoid scandal, but also deeply ingrained culture of power, manipulation, and silence. Teachers, staff, and even some students had been complicit in keeping this secret, and many had turned a blind eye to the suffering that had been going on for years. The schools' administrations were arrested and charged with a series of crimes, including negligence, abuse of power, and illegal medical procedure. The government announced strict regulation for private schools, and the entire educational system in the region was put under closer scrutiny. Yangaka School, once known for its prestigious reputation, was officially shut down, its door permanently closed. The building, once filled with the laughter and chatter of students, now stood empty and abandoned, a stark reminder of the pain and suffering that had taken place behind its walls. For the former students who had survived, There was a mix of relief and sorrow. Some of them found the courage to speak out publicly, sharing their experiences with the world. Others chose to remain in the background, haunted by their past, but quietly grateful that the truth had finally been exposed. Many of the girls who had been victims of the school's abuse began to receive the help they desperately needed: therapy, support groups, and counseling to heal from their trauma they had endured. Clara's death, though tragic, had become the catalyst for change. Her family, devastated by the loss, became strong advocates for justice. They joined the effort to ensure that no other girls would suffer the same fate. Clara's memory lived on, not as a victim but as a symbol of strength it took to bring the truth to light. The outcry led to a widespread discussion about the need for transparency in schools and a commitment to the well-being of students above all else. Many people began to realize the importance of speaking up against injustice, even when it seems too difficult or dangerous. It became clear that silence only allowed the abuse to continue. As the dust settled, the surviving students of Yangaka School started rebuilding their lives. Some returned to schools in other places, determined to finish their education and move forward. Others, still grappling with the emotional scars, chose different paths but found peace in knowing that their voices had helped bring an end to the suffering. And also, the story of Yangaka School came to a close. The truth had been revealed, the guilty had been held accountable, and the school was no more. The legacy of Yangaka School became a warning, a reminder to always stand up for what is right, no matter the cost. The end of the school marked the beginning of a new chapter for the survivors, one where their voices were no longer silenced and their stories will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.